Welcome to my YouTube channel Yasmeen Simplifies. In part 1 of control and coordination, we discussed about nerve cell, and in part 2, that is this video of control and coordination, we'll discuss about parts of nervous system. So let's begin. In the parts of the nervous system consists of two components, that is brain and spinal cord. And in this video, we'll discuss about brain and spinal cord in detail. So let's begin. First of all, let us know the types of nervous system. Central nervous system, that is CNS, peripheral nervous system, that is PNS, and autonomic nervous system, that is ANS. First of all, let us understand CNS, that is central nervous system. Brain plus spinal cord make up CNS, that is central nervous system. Now, what is brain? First of all, let's understand the role or the importance of brain in our body. Brain controls center of the body. Entire body works on the messages or the impulses thrown via brain. Now let us know what is this brain made of. That is the composition of the brain. So simply, brain is made of soft nervous tissues. Since it is made of soft nervous tissues, it has to be protected by something. So it is protected by hard skull. That is, whenever we see a skull, we see bones. That is the hard skull plus three layered membranous coverings. This is really very important to know. Three layered membranous covering. All these three are the keywords. Three layered membranous covering, and the biological name for this layered membranous covering is meninges, and the gap between these three layers or these three meninges is filled by a fluid, sin is filled by a liquid, and the name of this fluid or the liquid is cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid is the fluid which is filled between the meninges. And the importance of this cerebrospinal fluid is it protects brain from mechanical shocks and injuries. Protects brain from mechanical shocks and injuries. This is the role or the function of cerebrospinal fluid or the fluid which is filled between the meninges of the brain. So let's know, we understood the composition of the brain. Let us know the parts of the brain. So parts of the brain, human brain has three main parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. In this single sheet, we'll understand all three parts. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. It can come in MCQs or the one word. The largest part of the brain is the cerebrum, and the surface of cerebrum is consisted of folded to form ridges and furrows. The surface area of the cerebrum, that is the largest part of the brain, is filled with ridges and furrows, and it increases the surface area of that brain. The importance of this ridges and furrows is it increases the surface area. That means the larger number of ridges can come in that to accommodate more nerve cells. That is, the more nerve cells present in the human brain, the more intelligent that person is. So these this ridges and furrows plays a vital role in human brain or human life. Surface area increases indicative of high intelligence and good cognitive functioning. Now let us understand the function of cerebrum. Cerebrum controls functions such as memory, speech, thought, taste, smell, hearing, plus all voluntary actions. Voluntary actions means actions which are in our control, that is moving of our hand or walking or cycling or any activity that is in our control and does not affect the functioning of our body. Now let us understand the second part. We already got to know about cerebrum, that is the largest part of the brain, and higher the ridges and furrows in the cerebrum, which increases the surface area, and that is responsible for the intelligence of a person. And we also got to know the function of the cerebrum, that is, it controls functions such as memory, speech, thought, taste, smell, and all voluntary actions. Let us know about cerebellum. Cerebellum is located at the back below cerebrum. It is located at back and below cerebrum. And the function of cerebellum is it helps to maintain the body balance. The entire body balance is controlled by cerebellum, not cerebrum. It is controlled by cerebellum and coordinates muscular activity and coordinate muscular activity. That is indirectly it is telling it coordinates involuntary actions. Now let's talk about medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata is the third part of the brain. We already got to know about the cerebellum, we got to know about the cerebellum, and let us know about medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata has the another name called brain stem, and it is the part of brain lowest part of the brain and continues till the spinal cord. That is why it is called brain stem, stem of the brain. That is, it elongates, it continues till the spinal cord. And the control of medulla oblongata, or the function of the medulla oblongata, is that it controls involuntary actions, that is breathing, heartbeat, etc. See, so in a sheet, we got to know about the cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. Going ahead, as I said, in this chapter or in this part, we'll study about brain and spinal cord in detail. So, coming to the spinal cord. Spinal cord is a cylindrical structure and protected by bony spine, that is vertebral column, and it is covered by meninges, as we said, the layers which covers the skull, which covers the brain, and it is also filled with cerebrospinal fluid, and it continues till the spinal cord. The same meninges, the same membrane continues till the spinal cord, covered by meninges which continues from the brain. Three function that this is very really very important from the point of view of examination as well as picture study. Three functions of spinal cord are as follows. First, it transmits sensory impulses from different organs in the body to the brain. Sensory transmits sensory impulses or the messages from different organs in the body to the brain. That is, it is responsible for the action. Second, it conducts motor impulses from the brain to muscles for responding. Conducts motor impulses from the brain to the muscles for the responding. This is responsible for reaction as well. Third, it controls center for many reflex action. Control center for many reflex action. Reflex action will study ahead, but let me give you a glimpse. Reflex action is the sudden or immediate action to any environmental change that happens. For example, if you touch a hot object, you will surely pull back your hand or any part of the body which touches it. That is the reflex action. Now let's come to second type of nervous system, that is peripheral nervous system. In peripheral nervous system, we'll discuss majorly about two things, that is cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Let's understand these two nerves from the point of view of differentiation. First difference between cranial nerves and spinal nerves is that cranial nerves originate from brain and spinal nerves originate from spinal cord, as the name suggests. So originate from spinal cord. These are also called spinal nerves. Second, cranial nerves are 12 pairs, that is total 24, 12 pairs, and spinal nerves in total are 31 pairs, that is in total they are 62 in number. Example of cranial nerve as it originates from the brain. Example is optic nerve related to eyes, auditory nerve related to ears. Third thing about these two are cranial nerves transmit both sensory and motor signals, and spinal nerves are mixed nerves. So we got three point of differentiation between the two. Cranial originate from the brain, whereas these originate from spinal cord. These are 12 pairs, these are 31 pairs. The cranial nerves transmit both sensory and motor signals, whereas spinal nerves are mixed nerves. So we learn till now we learn about CNS and ANS. Let's learn about ANS, that is autonomic nervous system. In autonomic nervous system, these consist of pair of chains of fiber and the location located on either side of backbone consist of pair of chain of fibers and are located on both sides, that is either side of the backbone. Function of KNS, it regulate internal body functions or involuntary body functions. The same thing was given for medulla oblongata also, as we discussed before. So involuntary functions are or internal functions such as heartbeat, blood flow and breathing. Now, ANS or autonomic nervous system is divided into two, that is sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Let me tell you in a glimpse that sympathetic nervous system is responsible for the action and parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for the reaction or calming down. Let's study more. Sympathetic nervous system prepares the body for action towards violent and intense physical activities that require alertness and energy. For example, the example of sympathetic nervous system is that you are running and your heartbeat increases. Now let's come to parasympathetic nervous system, meant to restore and reestablish the body into normal conditions. That means whenever you run or you go into any physical activity, your heartbeat increases, your body hormone fluctuates, and everything goes to increase or decrease. Now it has to come back to normal. So parasympathetic nervous system is the one that brings it back to normal. So increase in heartbeat while running is the best example for sympathetic nervous system, and body coming down back to normal is the best example for parasympathetic nervous system. Now let's go ahead. As we discussed about the all three types of nervous system, now we'll cover the part of the chapter control and coordination, that is reflex action, in a while. So let's go. This is the third topic that we were supposed to discuss in this chapter. Reflex action is the sudden involuntary. For example, someone uh, touches your hand with a hot bottle or an hot object, and you suddenly pulls your hand back. That is involuntary. You weren't prepared for this, and your body were also not prepared for this. So this is the sudden involuntary response of the body brought about by a stimulus. This is the biological term used for any environmental change. Any environmental change. For example, you are allergic to dust and suddenly there is dust storm and you start sneezing. So this is the environmental change for your body and you suddenly start sneezing. That is the involuntary action. You weren't prepared for this. Your body was also not prepared for this, but there was an environmental change, that is stimulus, so you started for that involuntary action. Now let's study three, four jargons or the terms that are used in under this topics. First of all, there is reflex arc. Reflex arc is the shortest path taken by a nerve impulse, that is nerve message, to travel from a receptor to an effector in a reflex action is called a reflex arc. In this definition, there are certain keywords. First of all, there is shortest path, then taken by a nerve impulse to travel from a receptor. Receptor is the second keyword, to an effector. Effector is the third keyword. In a reflex action, this is the name of the process. This is the name of the process. Reflex action is called a reflex arc. Then let us know what is receptor. Receptor is a cell or a group of nerve endings. Example is skin, that receives stimulus, that receives the change in environment and sends the impulse through nerves to the spinal cord. That means, as I told you, as I gave you the example of the hot object, when hot object is touched to your skin is the receptor for that. And and the same nerves, the nerves in that skin sends the impulse through the nerves to the spinal cord. Then the spinal cord works on its own. There is reflexes that are developed by a experience or by learning during our lifetime are called conditioned reflexes. For example, when a commando is trained, or when a doctor is trained, they are given certain trainings. They are told when to react and how to react. For instance, as I told you, when a commando is trained, there is a person standing with a pistol. They won't react, they know what to do. So that is conditioned reflexes. They are already trained for that particular condition. But when a person is standing with a pistol in front of a normal person, that person might sweat, that person might faint, that person might start running. So that is not a conditioned reflexes, that is the sudden reflexes based on the stimulus. Now let us know in a glimpse, with with the help of a chart, let us know the path that is followed during reflex action. For instance, sharp object is there, you touched it. The message goes to the sensory neurons. Now the sensory neurons transfer the message to the mixed neurons, which are present in spinal cord. That means the message through the nerves, through the sensory nerves, is transferred to the spinal cord via mixed neuron. Then from the spinal cord, motor neuron carries the motor neurons messages transferred. Motor neuron carries the impulse or the message for the reaction to the effector organ, that is the skin or the muscle. I hope you all got to know about entirely about the topics explained. And in case of any query, don't forget to comment in this video. And in case of any specific topic that needs to be discussed, do comment. And if you really like the video, do subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you, everyone.